You run 5 kilometers every single day. Same route, same time, same shoes, wearing down in the exact same spots. And somehow, you are not getting any faster. You're not getting any stronger. You feel like you're just running in place. Metaphorically speaking, of course, because physically, you're out there every morning like clockwork, putting in the work, sweating through your shirt, coming home tired, and you have absolutely nothing to show for it. Pause. That feeling you just felt in your chest, that tight little knot of recognition, that's exactly why you need to watch this entire video. Because the problem isn't your effort. The problem isn't your shoes. The problem isn't even your genetics. The problem is something so simple, so obvious, that when I tell you what it is, you're either going to laugh or you're going to want to throw your phone across the room. Either reaction is valid. Welcome back to RFH, Running for Health. If this is your first time here, I need you to hit that subscribe button right now, not later, right now. Because this channel exists for one reason: to give you the kind of honest, science-backed running advice that most coaches charge hundreds of dollars an hour to share. Hit the like button if you've ever felt stuck in your running. Drop a comment and tell me where in the world you're watching from. I genuinely read those, and it blows my mind every single time to see how far this community reaches. Share this video with a running buddy who needs to hear the truth today. And if you want to go deeper, become a channel member through the link in the pinned comment. That membership is what keeps this channel alive, keeps the lights on, keeps me caffeinated enough to keep making content for you. The link is right there. One tap. Let's go. Now, back to your 5 kilometers. Here's the truth that nobody wants to say out loud. Running the same distance at the same effort every single day is not training. It is exercise. And I want to be very clear, exercise is not bad. Exercise is wonderful. Exercise keeps you healthy, keeps your heart strong, keeps your brain from turning into mashed potatoes. But exercise and training are two completely different things. And if you've been doing one while expecting the results of the other, that's where your frustration is coming from. That's the whole story. That's the plot twist. And we're only 2 minutes in. Be honest with yourself for a second. Think about the last 30 days of your running. Really think about it. Did any of those runs feel genuinely hard? Like uncomfortably, embarrassingly hard? Did any of them feel almost too easy? Like you were basically walking with extra steps? Or did every single run feel like roughly the same medium effort grind? If you answered that last one, congratulations. You have just diagnosed your own problem. You have been living in what exercise scientists call the moderate intensity trap, and it is one of the most comfortable, most deceptive, most progress-killing places a runner can exist. Here's what happens inside your body when you run your 5 kilometers every day at that same comfortable pace. The first week, your body goes, okay, this is new, let me adapt. Your cardiovascular system makes small improvements. Your muscles get a little more efficient. Your mitochondria, those tiny power generators inside your cells, they start multiplying, expanding, getting better at converting oxygen into energy. This is called adaptation, and it is the entire point of running. The problem is, your body is almost insultingly good at adapting. Give it the same stimulus long enough, and it stops adapting. It just looks at that 5-kilometer run and goes, yep, been there, done that. This is just maintenance now. And maintenance does not make you faster. Maintenance does not make you stronger. Maintenance keeps you exactly where you are. Think about that. You are working hard every day to stay exactly where you already are. That should bother you. Let it bother you a little. because that productive discomfort is going to fuel everything that comes next. Now, the reason most people fall into this trap is not laziness. I want to make that very clear. The people stuck in the moderate intensity trap are some of the most disciplined, most consistent runners out there. They show up every day. Rain, cold, sore legs, bad mood. They show up. The problem isn't discipline. The problem is a concept called training monotony. When every run looks the same, your nervous system, your cardiovascular system, and your muscular system stop receiving the signal to improve. They've already solved the puzzle. You keep handing them the same puzzle, and they just shrug. The fix sounds almost too simple when I say it out loud. You need to run slower, and you need to run faster, sometimes on the same week. And the ratio matters more than almost anything else you're going to hear about running today. This is where we need to talk about the 80-20 rule. And before you roll your eyes and say you've heard of it, let me ask you this. Have you actually applied it? Because there's a massive difference between knowing something and doing something. Most runners who know about 80-20 training are still out there grinding at moderate intensity every day. So let's break it down in a way that actually makes it usable. The 80-20 rule, also called polarized training, comes from decades of research on elite endurance athletes. When scientists analyzed how the world's best distance runners, cyclists, and triathletes were training, they found something that surprised almost everyone. About 80% of their training volume was done at genuinely low intensity. Easy, conversational pace, embarrassingly slow in some cases, and about 20% was done at genuinely high intensity, hard, uncomfortable, the kind of effort where you can barely form a sentence. What they were almost never doing? That medium effort, comfortable but not easy pace where most recreational runners live permanently. Ridiculous, right? The athletes winning international marathons were jogging at paces that many weekend warriors would feel embarrassed to post on Strava. And then twice a week, they were running so hard their legs felt like they were on fire. That combination, the very easy and the very hard, is what creates adaptation. The easy running builds your aerobic base, trains your body to burn fat as fuel, develops mitochondrial density, and allows your body to absorb and recover from the hard work. The hard running pushes your cardiovascular system to its absolute limit, forces your fast-twitch muscle fibers to recruit and fire, and drives the kind of fitness improvements that actually change your race times. The moderate middle? It's too hard to truly recover from, and too easy to create any meaningful adaptation. You're paying the cost of hard work without getting any of the benefits. It is, physiologically speaking, the worst of both worlds. Stop. Before you go rewrite your entire training plan right now, there's something important you need to understand. The reason most runners end up in that moderate intensity trap isn't random. It's actually a very predictable consequence of not knowing what easy really means. If I told you to go for an easy run right now, what pace would you choose? If you're like most people, you'd choose something that feels comfortable. Not hard, but not slow either. Maybe a pace where you could hold a conversation, but you'd prefer not to. And here's the cruel joke. That pace is almost certainly not easy enough. Real easy running, the kind that builds an aerobic base and facilitates recovery, should feel almost awkward. It should feel slow enough that you're a little self-conscious about it. Your heart rate should stay below a specific threshold. For most people, that means keeping your heart rate under roughly 75% of your maximum. If you don't have a heart rate monitor, you can use the talk test. You should be able to speak in full, complete sentences without any effort at all, not short sentences, full conversational paragraphs. If you're slightly breathless, you're already out of zone 2 and drifting into that problematic middle ground. Here's what blows people's minds when they first commit to truly easy running. They start running their easy days significantly slower than they ever have before. And within a few weeks, their pace at that same easy heart rate starts dropping. Without any additional effort, without grinding, without suffering, their easy pace gets faster. Because their aerobic engine is finally getting the space it needs to develop. This is the part where I need you to really sit with something. You have been frustrated because you're not improving, but the reason you're not improving is that you've accidentally designed a training plan that prevents improvement. Every day, you go out and run at an effort level that's just uncomfortable enough to feel like work, but not structured enough to create change. Day after day, week after week, month after month. And your body, being the incredibly efficient machine that it is, has simply adapted to surviving that effort without needing to grow. You didn't fail. Your body did exactly what bodies are supposed to do. You just gave it the wrong instructions. So let's talk about what the right instructions look like. If you're currently running 5 kilometers every day at the same pace, here is the structural shift that is going to change everything. Instead of thinking about your runs in terms of distance, I want you to start thinking about them in terms of purpose. Every single run you do should have a reason for existing. Not just, I ran today, but why did you run today and what was that run supposed to accomplish? This is the difference between training with intention and just logging miles on autopilot. Here's a simple weekly structure that applies the 80-20 principle to someone running 5 days a week. 3 of those days are genuinely easy runs. Heart rate stays low. Pace feels almost embarrassingly slow. And the goal is aerobic development and recovery. 1 day is a tempo run, a sustained effort at a comfortably hard pace, somewhere around 85 to 88% of your maximum heart rate, for a specific duration. And 1 day is an interval session, short, very hard efforts with recovery periods in between, where you're pushing to 90, 95, even close to 100% of your maximum output. That's your week. 5 runs, 3 easy, 1 tempo, 1 interval, 80% easy, 20% hard. That's it. No magic, no special equipment. No expensive coach, just structure and intention applied to the same time commitment you're already making. Now, here's the curiosity hook I promised you every 90 seconds, and this one is going to stick with you all day. There is a specific type of run that recreational runners almost never do, that elite runners consider absolutely non-negotiable, and that research consistently shows is one of the most powerful tools for improving running economy. It's not intervals. It's not tempo runs. It's actually the long run. And I don't mean long in terms of distance necessarily. I mean long in terms of time on your feet. 60, 70, 90 minutes of continuous easy running, done once a week, trains your body in ways that no other type of workout can replicate. It develops fat oxidation, your body's ability to use stored fat as fuel so you don't run out of energy. It builds muscular endurance in your slow twitch fibers. It creates cardiovascular adaptations that literally thicken the walls of your heart and increase its stroke volume, meaning your heart pumps more blood with every beat. And it teaches your brain that sustained effort is survivable, which is an underrated psychological adaptation that pays off enormously on race day. If you are only ever running 5 kilometers, you are never getting any of those benefits. Full stop. The long run doesn't need to be a marathon training session. For someone currently running 5 kilometers a day, a long run might be 8 kilometers. Or it might be 50 minutes of easy running regardless of the distance covered. The point is time on feet at low intensity, once a week, Non-negotiable. This single addition to your training, swapping one of your 5-kilometer runs for a longer, easy effort, will probably do more for your running than any other change you make in the next 3 months. I say that with confidence because the science behind it is not subtle or debated. It is one of the most well-established principles in endurance training. Be honest with yourself again. When was the last time you ran for more than 40 minutes straight? When was the last time you ran slow enough that your breathing was completely controlled and your legs felt almost fresh at the end? If you're struggling to remember, that's your answer. That's what's been missing. Let's talk about something that nobody in the running content space talks about enough, and that's the relationship between stress, actual life stress, not just training stress, and running adaptation. Your body does not know the difference between the stress of running hard and the stress of a terrible week at work, a difficult relationship, a bad night of sleep, financial anxiety. Stress is stress, and your body's hormonal response to it is largely the same. Cortisol goes up, recovery goes down. When you are under significant life stress and you continue running at moderate to high intensity every day, you are pouring more stress into a system that is already overwhelmed. You are not adapting. You are accumulating damage. This is why elite athletes who live in controlled training environments specifically designed to manage their overall stress load can tolerate training volumes that would destroy a recreational runner. They're not tougher. They're just operating under a lower total stress burden. Their job is to run. Their lifestyle is engineered around recovery. You, on the other hand, are trying to train like an elite athlete while also holding down a job, managing a family, sleeping 6 hours a night, and surviving whatever the world throws at you on any given Tuesday. This means something very specific for your training. On weeks when life is hard, your easy runs need to be genuinely easy, not moderate, not medium, genuinely easy, so that your total stress load remains manageable and your body can actually absorb the work you're doing. This is not weakness. This is not making excuses. This is applied exercise science, and the best coaches in the world build this principle into their athletes' programs. Here's what I want you to do this week. Just this week, one change. Pick 2 of your 5-kilometer runs and run them at a pace where you could sing out loud without losing your breath. Uncomfortably slow, embarrassingly easy. Keep your heart rate low, and pick one of your remaining runs and do something hard. 6 by 1 minute efforts at the fastest pace you can sustain, with 90 seconds of easy jogging between each one. And make one run longer than 5 kilometers. Whatever the distance, just go longer and keep it easy. That's 3 changes. Easy, hard, long, and then watch what happens over the next 4 to 6 weeks. Not 1 week, 4 to 6, because adaptation takes time. And if you bail after 10 days because you don't feel different yet, you're going to end up right back where you started. Frustrated, confused, and running your same 5 kilometers at your same pace going nowhere. Ridiculous as it sounds, the single most common reason runners don't see results from a changed training plan is that they don't give the plan enough time to work. We are a culture of instant feedback. We track every run, analyze every split, compare every session. And when we don't see improvement in the first week of doing something new, we question whether it's working. But your aerobic system doesn't care about your impatience. Mitochondrial adaptations take weeks. Cardiovascular changes take months. The athletes who make the biggest long-term gains are almost never the ones who train the hardest in any given week. They're the ones who trained consistently and intelligently over years. That's the timeline nobody wants to talk about. But that's the real one. One more thing before we get to the moment I really want you to sit with. Recovery is training. I'll say that again. Recovery. is training. The adaptation doesn't happen during the run, it happens after. When you sleep, when you eat, when you sit still, that's when your body takes the stress signal from the run and builds something stronger in response. If you never give your body that recovery window, if every run is hard enough to create stress but your lifestyle doesn't allow for genuine recovery, you will keep accumulating fatigue without ever cashing in the fitness gains that fatigue is supposed to produce. Sleep is the most powerful recovery tool available to any human being, and it costs nothing. 7 to 9 hours. Consistently. This matters more for your running than your shoes, your nutrition plan, or your training schedule. If you are chronically undersleeping, you are chronically under-recovering, and you will chronically underperform no matter how hard you try. Now, here's your aha moment. The one I want you to take with you on your next run. Everything you've heard today points to the same underlying principle. Your body only improves when it's forced to, and it only recovers when you let it. Those two things cannot happen at the same time. You cannot force adaptation and allow recovery simultaneously, which means you need contrast. You need days that are genuinely hard and days that are genuinely easy. You need weeks where you push and weeks where you back off. The runners who never get faster are almost always the ones who've eliminated all contrast from their training. Every run is a 4 out of 10 on the effort scale. Never a 2, never an 8, just a relentless, grinding, forgettable 4. And the body, faced with that unvarying 4, simply stops listening. Your 5 kilometers every day isn't the enemy. Consistency is a superpower, and the fact that you've built that habit is something to be genuinely proud of. But consistency without variation is just repetition, and repetition without progression is just maintenance. You came here because maintenance isn't enough for you. You want more, and now you know exactly what more looks like. Go run easy, go run hard, go run long, and stop running the same run in the same shoes at the same effort every single day and wondering why the finish line keeps moving away from you. Pause. Next time on RFH, we're going after something that frustrates runners even more than stalled fitness: your pace. Specifically, why your pace at any given effort level has probably plateaued, and why the answer has almost nothing to do with how fit you are. We're talking about running economy, the mechanical efficiency of how your body actually moves through space. Small changes in form, cadence, and ground contact time can unlock pace improvements that months of harder training couldn't touch. If you think you've maxed out your natural speed, you need to see what's coming next, because you haven't. Not even close. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Hit the notification bell so YouTube actually shows it to you. And if this video gave you something to think about, if it shifted something for you, share it with one runner in your life who needs to hear the truth about why they're stuck. One share. That's all it takes to change someone's running forever. See you in the next one.